How do everybody? I've just got this new story. Absolutely shocking. I really didn't think that Greater Manchester Police could have got any lower, but I do think this story that we're going to explore right now, and I have read through the whole thing. Unusually, I do like to normally explore the story with you whilst so you get to see my honest reaction. But this headline just absolutely blew my socks off when I saw it, which is why I thought I'd best read it first. And really, I think purely epitomises a lot of what I say. First and foremost, being that when I say don't listen to what they say, look at what they do. That being when the police are always talking about all the government or whatever, yeah, we care about the citizens and we put everybody's needs first, blah, blah, blah. No, they absolutely do not. And this story is going to prove that straight away. Secondly, for those of you who've listened to quite a few of my videos, you will know my view on firearm rights. And I do believe that we should have access to firearms for self-defence. And once again, this story, I think, is an excellent example of why we should not be denied the right to have firearms to defend ourselves in our own homes. So let's crack on with this. And it is absolutely shocking. Police took aborted fetus without telling Rochdale grooming victim, review fines. Absolutely terrible. And that is completely accurate to what the report said. Now, in my earlier video, I briefly went over the report, what it was saying, and the report that was in that article was bad enough. Lowest of the low. And you think this can't possibly get worse, but this article will prove to you that don't worry, it can always get worse. Greater Manchester Police secretly took the aborted fetus of a 13-year-old grooming victim in order to do a DNA test without telling the girl or her parents. A highly critical review of the police and council in Rochdale has found. Now, again, you will all know, if you're a regular listener of my channel, what my view will be on this, which is those individuals need flogging. And I am not saying that for effect. I genuinely believe that. That is disgusting. There is no excuse for that. Get them strapped out, arms spread, rip the shirt off the back, lash them. Disgusting behaviour. No need for that. That is the only way we're going to start sorting out this level of corruption in our institutions, in my opinion. Obviously, they need to have a trial first. The revelation is one of a series of deplorable failings detailed in the latest chapter of an independent assurance review into our GMP, that's Greater Manchester Police, and other agencies responded to child sexual exploitation, CSE, in Greater Manchester. The 173-page review was commissioned by Andy Burnham when he was first elected as mayor in 2017 and covers a period from 2004 to 2013. I don't think Andy Burnham's gone anywhere near far enough, but at least it's something. We are getting somewhere with this. Heads need to roll. Criminal investigations need to happen against those who were involved in covering this up. And like I say, death penalty and floggings should be brought back into action for these people. Disgusting behaviour from these. It identified at least 96 individuals who could pose a risk to children. In my other video, I said I think it was 75 victims, with 43 posed as a serious risk. I do think the victim number is a lot higher, but I didn't know that there was 96 individuals highlighted. And this is just the ones that they know about. And now there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of more men associated with these individuals who were involved in these crimes as well. Along with there being, I believe, hundreds and hundreds more children who just haven't come forward, or the police have buried the information or not recorded the crimes, which will get mentioned in here later on, by the way. Most of whom were not yet prosecuted. Apologising to the victim. Yeah, because apologising to the victims is really going to help, isn't it? We're sorry we let you get raped for 20 years. No hard feelings. Can we shake hands on that? Yep, there we go. Thank you. See you later. I'll go and enjoy my pension now. And, me house that's been paid off, no mortgage, and my car that I own because I've been working as a high-up police officer earning, maybe £100,000 a year. I hope you've lived a good life in terror while you've been getting harassed and attacked and victimised by these gangs. No hard feelings. F off. Absolutely F off. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Apologising to the victims, GMP Chief Constable Stephen Watson promised a day of reckoning for the men responsible who have yet to be arrested. Well, what about your officers? What about the people who covered it up? They are just as guilty as the men who engaged in these crimes. Don't just sit there and try and blame it on these individuals solely, because it's also your officers and social workers and counsellors who covered this up and allowed it to happen for decades. Don't try and brush us off. You think we're morons, don't you? Other findings include, when cases did reach court, GMP left the young victims to be harassed and intimidated by the men who previously abused them, sometimes at gunpoint. And there we go. What a surprise. Guns, we're not allowed to own them, especially handguns. Not allowed to own them. At least, well, we have very, very special rules where you can keep it at a gun range if you have a handgun. Very, very tightly controlled. But what a surprise! People are involved in industrial scale rape gangs where they traffic young children and peddle hard drugs and get them addicted to drugs, etc. Oh, they also have guns as well. What a surprise! What a shocker! Whereas we, the law-abiding citizens, sit at home with our fingers up our backsides, hoping that nobody comes to our door with nefarious intent. And this is why these cases happen. They're laughing in our faces because they know that we are sat at home unable to do anything. What can you do if a gang of men turn up to your house and say, 7 or 8 of them turn up to your house, we're taking your daughter? What can you do? Legitimately, what can you do? There's not very much you can do, especially when the police are going to arrest you as a racist for complaining about it. Nothing. And these perverts know it. And by the way, they have guns as well. So if you do try and stand up to them and they don't just give you a good hiding, they'll probably shoot you as well for good measure. We are being taken for a laugh by our police and by the government. They are leaving us as sitting ducks so these nonces can do what the heck they want. It is disgusting. GMP took no action in the case of a 15-year-old girl who gave birth to a girl of her pimp. Now, I didn't mention this in my video earlier today, this girl. And she was the one, I believe, who ended up bumping into the individual after he left prison. And she didn't even know he'd come out of prison, by the way. And we will get onto that afterwards as well. One child told GMP that her abuser kept girls in cages and made them bark like dogs or dress like a baby. Other things that happened as well was they branded girls as well. Some of these gangs actually used irons to brand them. But GMP took no action once she left the Greater Manchester area and was put in care elsewhere. What a surprise! Greater Manchester Police just washed their hands of a victim. Let's just bury the problem. Just sweep it under the carpet. These are war crimes. And I'm not just saying that as my opinion. I genuinely believe these are actual war crimes. We would invade other countries and charge their leadership for activities like this. We would have them in The Hague for this. That is not hyperbole either. I genuinely believe that is what we would do. I believe that is factually correct. In an incredible example of poor practice, one victim, known as Amber, who I mentioned earlier in another video, was self-arrested and then bailed to live with a man who had already been arrested on suspicion of grooming. Oh, I've mentioned that before as well, haven't I, where these girls kept being sent to the abusers by the police, knowing that they were abusers. What a surprise. They were even getting the guys because a lot of these guys are in taxi firms, the guys were turning up in the taxis and picking the girls up from the police station. And the police knew exactly who they were and what they were doing. There was times when the police were walking in like underground car parks, and the guys were, let's say, receiving certain types of pleasure from the girls in the car, and the police would be talking to them through the window while it was going on. And they just brush it off. Like the police are just as complicit in these activities as the perverts themselves. And they need, like I said, they need lining up against the wall and shooting or facing a gallows. And for those who were just maybe not as directly involved, but we're brushing this, like the evidence away, flog them. Absolutely flog them and strip the pensions from them. The Crown Prosecution Service, in consultation with GMP, decided to name Amber as a co-conspirator within the sexual exploitation of other children in a trial of her abusers, in what the authors described as deplorable further abuse of a CSE survivor. Yep, that is very, very common for the police to blame the girls for their own misery. And even if she had been actually directly involved, which I don't think she was, because she denies it vehemently, and I believe her. But even if she was, she would have been doing it under serious duress and under the threat of being killed if she didn't. So she cannot be blamed even if she did do that. And this is the perverted mindset of these people who don't want to label racists or bigots. They are disgusting human beings, actual traitors. These people are traitors for doing this, and they are disgusting lowlifes. The latest review, the third of four, found compelling evidence of widespread organised CSE within Rochdale from 2004 onwards. It will have been going way back before that, just not as on larger scale, just simply because there will have been a lot less of them in the country before 2004. much of which remained undetected because successive GMP operations were so badly under-resourced, and I believe intentionally under-resourced. I have no evidence to prove that, by the way. That is purely my gut feeling, but I believe that to be true. The report's author, the child protection specialist Malcolm Newsom, and the former senior police officer Gary Ridgway concluded children were left at the mercy of their abusers because of an inadequate response by GMP and Rochdale Council's Children's Social Care. Burnham said it was unacceptable that 5 GMP officers, including an assistant chief constable, as well as the head of children's services at Rochdale Council at the time, either refused to cooperate with the review or failed to respond to a request for interview. Well, put them on trial, find them guilty, and then hang them. It's that simple. It is that simple. And I do believe it's that black and white for what they have done to these children. Hang them. Put them on trial and give them a death penalty when you find them guilty. Disgusting. Absolute traitors, these people. A GMP whistleblower, Maggie Oliver, highly recommend you look up interviews with her on YouTube. Very, very deep insight into this level of crime, this lady. Absolutely wonderful human being. Please do look her up. Welcomed the review, but said victims of Greater Manchester and beyond were still routinely treated badly or even inhumanely, still not believed, still judged, still dismissed when they report these horrendous crimes. Absolutely. The entire system needs overhauling. A lot of the people at the top need gutting out, and this goes across the whole civil service and everything as well. It is just absolutely full of traitors right now. The authors were particularly critical of how police treated girls known as Child 44. She had an abortion at 13 in 2009 and was only found out in 2011 that the fetus had been taken by the police. Officers collected the fetus from Rochdale Hospital in 2009 but took no immediate action when the DNA failed to match possible suspects in the investigation at the time. The fetus was then placed in a freezer at Rochdale Police Station and forgotten about until a routine property review sometime later. That's when they'll go through the whatever it's in the cupboards and that, just see what still can be kept and what can be binned, basically. Sometime later. Meanwhile, the girl continued to be exploited for several years and at one point was at risk of being taken to Pakistan by her abusers. This is the actual insanity of this system. These people were gaslighting the entire society, and there was people like me saying this is going on and getting called racist and bigots for it. It's like, but you can actually see this happening with your own eyes around you. Going out on a night out, you can see the girls being groomed. Obviously being groomed. And the police just stood there allowing it to happen, and you're pointing it out to people, and they're calling you a racist and a bigot for it. It's actual gaslighting. They try and make you feel like you're mad. And this is what the police were doing to these people. Just absolute cowards and traitors. And like I say, they need executing. Genuinely, these people need executing. She told the reporter's authors she thought it was disgusting that the baby's remains had been taken without her consent, and she's absolutely correct to believe that. And that the police had robbed her. They've done more than robbed her. They've absolutely insulted her in the worst possible way. The girl ultimately gave evidence. It was a humiliation ritual as well, I think, that they're putting these people through. A lot of this has been about humiliating them. Like when accusing the girl of being a co-conspirator. It's humiliating the individuals, and it's acting as a warning to other people. Shut your mouth, otherwise we'll come for you. And that's what this is all about. These people have a sick ideology of multiculturalism at any cost, and they will destroy anybody who gets in the way of that, even if they are a victim of these absolutely disgusting crimes. Naz Shah, MP for Labour, famously retweeted, the victims of Rochdale should shut up for the case of #diversity. I am paraphrasing that slightly, but that is a true and accurate representation of what she shared, and that's the mindset of these people. Shut up for diversity. She described being chased by men in cars and bumping into her abuser in Rochdale Asda 4 or 5 years after the trial. Sorry, yeah, it was that girl, not the other one that I mentioned earlier. I didn't even know he was out of prison. Nobody had told me or asked me if I wanted to object to him being released. Well, that would have been something to at least warn her. This man was supposed to have been deported, and he wasn't, by the way. I see many of the men who abused me all the time, all around Rochdale, all the time, she said. When the review's author asked Child 44 how police responded, she replied, they didn't. They just said, lock your door. So you've got a girl here who has been victimised for years, threatened, intimidated, beaten, God knows what else, and being harassed for going to court and giving evidence, witness intimidation, all that going on, and all the police say is, lock your door. But I tell you what, if she'd have been a brown person and there'd been white nationalists doing that, oh, Oh, let's imagine what might have happened then. I think we all know exactly what would have happened in that scenario, don't we? Police would have been kicking doors down, and they would have been singing and dancing, and it would have been all over the media. Look at the good that we've done for diversity. These people are disgusting. She claimed that when she was pregnant with a second child, she returned home to find my house was trashed with slag and grass written across the wall. For people who don't know, who maybe not live in the United Kingdom or slag is basically a term for a whore, a girl, a female of ill repute. And grass is, well, most people know what grass is, but that's somebody who basically goes to the police, if you don't know. They ripped the carpet, burned the shed down, and killed the chickens. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful human beings. They even killed the chickens. The police just told her to get out if it happened again. If it happened again, get out. No, 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 no. This is the madness of the police. They are disgusting. These police officers who are engaged in this, they are disgusting. They are traitors. They are the worst human beings. And these will be career officers who are doing this because they don't want to rock the boat because they don't want a blemish on the record. That's what it'll be like, a sergeant saying that, a desk sergeant, when she rings up, and he's just thinking, I just want to do my 20 odd years or whatever it is. I just want to do my career and leave, get my full pension. I'm not rocking the boat. And that's what's important to these people. She ended up with 2 young children in a homeless hostel after her windows were smashed and she received threatening messages. Again, imagine if, say, myself was doing that to people who had more melanin than me. I doubt the police would be so restrained and give such weak and feeble advice to the victim. I just do not imagine that would happen. And just to be very clear, I have no intention of doing that before anybody tries playing silly buggers and reporting me. Same to the police, if you try investigating me, I've made it very clear now. That is not my intention, and it never has been, never will be, because I'm not that sort of a person. The reviews considered the allegations Sarah Robotham, the coordinator of the crisis investigations team in Rochdale, and Oliver, a former GMP detective constable, made in the BBC documentary Betrayed Girls about child sexual exploitation in Greater Manchester. Newsom said the review found Oliver and Robotham's allegations were substantiated and that during the period covered by this review, GMP Rochdale Council failed to prioritise the protection of children who were being sexually exploited by a significant number of men within the Rochdale area. It wasn't just men, was it? It wasn't generally men. It was a very, very specific group of men, wasn't it? Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Muslim men who have dual nationalities, and most of them are being related to each other. I was very clear on that. A very, very specific group of men who were doing this. And this was allowed to happen, in my opinion. One, because of the rampant madness of not wanting to appear racist. But the council, obviously, these have large constituencies of Muslims. And again, they are motivated by votes in this. They are covering it up because they just do not want to not get voted in. They don't want their constituents turning on them from these communities, and that's what this comes down to. It may also possibly be that there could be people from that community in the council, although I do not know that. That is just a speculative idea that I'm throwing out, and I have nothing to say that claim is actually true, just to be clear for that. I may look into it, though, to see if that is actually a factor in it. It's definitely worth exploring at the very least. Rochdale Council leader Neil Emmett said he was deeply sorry. Oh, I'm so deeply sorry that Labour failed you in this way, but we needed the votes. Don't you understand that you are just getting in the way of our diversity? And unfortunately, we were willing to sacrifice you on the funeral pyre of liberalism. It's just the way it is. Sorry. Sorry, there's a handshake. For very serious failures, I said those responsible were long gone, off into the sunset to enjoy their pensions and their nice big houses and whatever business they're involved in now. Yes. So far, 42 men have been convicted for non-recent multi-offender child sexploitation in Rochdale, from 6 trials from 2012 to 2023. It's just an absolute clown show. Just when you think the police can't sink any lower, they just pull a rabbit out of the hat, don't they? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And as I say, those who were in these positions need to be fully looked into. Criminal proceedings definitely need to be brought, and we definitely need to bring back the death penalty for these people, because unfortunately, if there isn't serious consequences, people are just going to keep making these mistakes. Well, they're not mistakes because they're doing it on purpose. You know, it's not a mistake when you're allowing those sorts of crimes to actually happen. A mistake is when it happens by accident. You know, it's like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean for that. That slipped through the net. Let's fix that problem. No, these people were actively going out of their way to cover these crimes up and allow these girls to be continually raped, and some girls even murdered. Disgusting, absolutely disgusting. If you have found that informative, insightful, not enjoyable, obviously, but I'll leave it at that. Please like, subscribe. Please put a comment below. I do like reading people's comments, and I do always try to get back to them as well. Thank you for now, and goodbye.